Look what Aiden said. Just a couple of days after receiving this lesson in the open zone at Royal Troon, he was striking the ball crazy good. And this is possibly the fastest way to improve your strike. Now I know exactly what Aiden's doing wrong in this lesson is happening to so many other golfers. So let's jump into a live lesson from the open zone at Royal Troon.
So Aiden, talk me through your swing right now. A little chat off camera. Your bad shot, a little bit high, a little bit right is what you're describing with the shorter irons.
Yep.
Okay, so just for everybody watching right now, just talk me through a few of your swing thoughts that you've got in your mind.
Swing thoughts is direction, what aiming point, and then probably the most, obviously when you're starting to try to progress down from like kind of 3 down to scratch +1, I tend to find that I'm trying to target the pin a bit too much. Percentage golf, obviously, that's the that's the way forward.
A little bit too aggressive.
Exactly,
okay.
a little bit too aggressive.
I mean, we're all guilty of being a little bit too aggressive, especially with short irons. And for context, you play off 3, so
yes,
Aiden's a very, very good player. So just keep hitting a few shots away for us. You've got 7 iron right now. I'm going to take a few videos, we'll have a look at this down the line, have a look at this and face on. And I think we'd just like to talk through maybe 1 or 2 swing thoughts just to give us a little more control and hopefully make you feel a little more comfortable with those short irons and sort of explain why you hit a bit of that weak push shot. Okay, take a couple more for me with 7, and then I want to see a few with that 9. Beautiful.
One there.
But is that one of the ones that you'd say goes a little bit off to the right?
I'd say so, yeah.
So just for context on the camera there, that's finished maybe 10, 15 yards right at target. which is not bad, but then in perspective, that could be missing the green if you're getting a bit too aggressive.
Exactly, if you're going aggressive and the pin's on the right hand side of the green, then that's where probably the fault goes. But
cool, could you hit 2 more for me with this?
Sure.
Thin, fat shots come in?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a very good player here, everybody, so it's not like we're talking massive extremes, but would that be a typical shot?
Yeah, that's a thin.
So, let's have a look at these here. I've just taken a few videos. This is actually, for context, and you see this on the screen here, this cast. This is Aiden with 7 iron. So, I want to talk about grip to begin with. Now, interestingly, one of the big things you said to me was you miss it a little bit off to the right. Yeah. Now, if we have a look at your grip here, you've just mentioned it to me. You have what we call like a pretty strong grip here. Yeah. Okay, and is that something you feel that you're fighting a little bit?
Sometimes, yeah.
And do you fight it trying to make it, do you try and make it weaker or do you try and make it stronger? I'd be interested to know this.
Probably, it's when I'm going to stand over the club, I probably don't think about it as enough. That's probably the point where it gets to, and then I'm not actually realising, oh, that's why you're here. And then when it comes to the next one, I'm then making it weaker. So
the interesting thing I'd say is, because you said to me you're missing it right, I'm reluctant to change a strong grip because think about it, if I made it weaker, we're going to hit it further right. Yeah. So the first thing I want to have a look at here is, you mentioned fat and thins. If we just watch the bottom screen here, you've got a little first move here, a little bit of a bump off this golf ball, and to be honest, a little bit too much for my liking. Okay. And the reason why I mention this is, we're going to see how your golf swing, in a nutshell, it lacks a bit of depth. And again, for me, that would be increasing your likelihood of missing it a little bit to the right. Yep. Okay, almost a little bit steep on it. Do you find you take quite steep divots sometimes at all?
Yeah, massive.
Okay, right. Okay, so if we think, this is a good player, but the more, let's say your circle starts here, if you sway off, your circle's moving back, and then you've got to sort of regain the circle. Okay. So in terms of like controlling the bottom of that arc, it's like saying, if I just jump in here, and it's just for the sake of the camera, it's like saying, okay, let's say I start here. If I wanted to hit a little chip, I'd stay left and guarantee that strike every time, right?
Yep.
If I swayed off, it'd be quite hard for me to guarantee that strike.
Yeah.
So, same thing when you've got a shorter iron in your hand. So come and look at this, right? So first thing we mentioned is a little bit of a sway. Yep. And then this top video, if you look at this here, wrist break quite early, I'm not bothered about, I'm fine with that. But what I want to see more is this chest and hips moving. It's more turn, and that would give us a little more depth. Okay. So, I mean, look at Brooks Koepka, right? He's probably a golf swing that has a lack of depth, but on the way down, he shallows it very, very well. Yep. Whereas you look at your downswing here, you're still quite steep on top of the golf ball. So all I would think about this nice and simply, right? We want to have our hands hanging down if we looked like a perfect model, right? There's no perfect model. Got to make a golf swing for you, right? Yeah. But I want to see a little more depth. Okay. I think for us, that would give us more control, especially when we got more loft in our hand. That would help us get rid of these really, really steep divots as well. Okay. We'd see, I'm not saying I want to pick it off the top, but you'd be a little bit more in that. Now, simply, right, all I want you to think about here is if I said to you, stand over that golf ball for me. By the way, any questions on that?
No, that makes total sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it? Right, okay, so, and just to bring that to life, it's like saying, body's not really turning, hands are lifting, and then we're sort of steep on it this way.
Okay.
Now, the steeper you are on it, the earlier you hit it in the arc,
Yeah.
the more likely your face is open.
Yeah.
Another thing you're going to see on those videos, everybody, is your ball position is very far forward for 7 irons. Now, that's because it gives you more chance of squaring that club face up. Okay, so that's almost like going, okay, what have I done as a good player to help me find a better swing? So adjust that ball for me. Again, we're not talking grip here. We're fine with grip. We're happy with that. Now, if you do, listen to me here, if you do start in a few weeks' time seeing a bit of an overdraw, that's when I'd say to you, right, okay, well, maybe I just want to rotate my hands not as much this way, a little bit to the left.
Okay.
But let's do that as your last resort, not your first.
Yes.
Okay, so adjust that ball for me again. And I'm going to get a video down the line here of you doing this, so we can put this in the video. Now, if I said to you, just make me a practice swing now, but keep your hands, right, more in the middle of your chest for longer. So right now we're saying the hands aren't in the middle of the chest.
Yep.
So keep them in the middle of your chest for longer. Don't hit the shot. Just show me what your version of that is, your interpretation of that. Perfect. Now, imagine that was a 10 out of 10 exaggeration. Make it 11 out of 10. Perfect. Okay, let's have a look at this here. I mean, we can see this on the screen here. Look at this, right? I mean, this is perfect. We're not talking about changing loads.
Yep.
Wow.
But the full body's
Okay. Now we've got more, again, I mentioned these points, more hip turn.
Yep.
And more chest. So look what we've now got, more depth.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't anticipate you to be that much on an actual shot, but something to work towards, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So if you ever look at this downswing, I know you didn't make a downswing, but if you did, it would be not as steep.
Yes.
So just wait to take a few shots away. We'll go with 9-9.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, makes perfect sense.
So if we had a simple swing thought, all we're looking for, can we keep those hands more in the middle of the chest for longer? How do you do that? Well, hips have got to turn a little more, chest a little more. Again, this doesn't have to be complicated.
Yep.
It's just about little things that help you improve. Okay, so what did I say to you? What shot might you hit with more depth?
Power draw.
Yeah, okay. Because that's the, if you look at your what grip you've got, that's the
That
shot you
makes
should
total
hit.
sense, yes.
Okay, so just hit a couple more for me.
Yeah. Same grip.
Same again, yeah. Beautiful hit. Beautiful hit. Equally, right, you've got really good educated hands. So after a few shots, you might not need to.
Yeah.
Look, you stand the range here, right? I mean, we're on the range at the Open. You're going to see different grips, and these are the best players in the world.
Yep.
So there's just about one that matches.
Yep.
So just do me a few more swings of that. Really show me that. Give me an exaggeration again. Really showing me that depth exaggeration. Good. And do it a little slower, right? So you've got good speed, but let's think about gears in the car. Give me gear 3, not gear 7. Beautiful. Ooh. Right, do that again for me. I'm gonna do this one with you. Both hands on the club. Yep. I'm gonna really exaggerate this. So just nice, your simple swing thought is hands in the middle of the chest for longer. So look at the width and turn we've got and the depth. Now that's super exaggerated. If we get there, great. If we get halfway there, even better. Yeah. Right, do that one more time. Give me your version. Perfect. Right, I want you to just hit 3 shots. Perfect. So just to give you context of what we're trying to do here in Aiden's swing, we've seen a lack of depth, really strong grip, and very steep into the back of the ball. So the lack of depth and steep into the back of the ball, they come sort of together. So nice and simply, just a bit more depth, we'll get better into the back of the ball. Beauty. Give me some swing thoughts. What you say, what you're feeling there. What feelings can you give me? So if everybody's watching this at home, if you're going, okay, this feels like this. So if someone could relate to that.
Yeah. It's hard to get in the body.
Yeah.
Thumb in the body all the way around.
For sure, you've just been watching the golf all day.
No, but it's not, obviously because the body's not used to getting turned all the way around now. And it's more feeling as though trying to get the same pace, the same speed, or the same from the previous swing. But obviously turning more, so you feel like you need to come down faster, maybe. That's the only thing I'm probably thinking in my head. But
yeah, I mean, it's going to feel different in a different position.
Massively.
So your perception of speed's all going to be a little different. So if I just jump in here, if you stood there for us, in like, the ideas I want you to leave this lesson with is we're going to think about grip as our steering wheel to our shot.
Yep.
So at the minute, it might cause us to steer a little bit off to the left.
Yep.
That's fine, we understand that we might need to just sort of tweak that a little bit.
Yep.
But you're a good player, you can do that down the line, right? All we're trying to feel is we're trying to make some golf swings now that feel a little more depth to stop us being lack of depth and steep. So for down the line here, just a bit of context, we're trying to feel more here, not here at the top of the backswing. So if you're someone who is a little steep, takes big divots, these are all the things. So just hit one more from me while I load this video in,
No problem.
and you can sort of get a good image of what we're trying to feel here. Beauty shot, but what did we see?
Foul draw.
Yeah, and we anticipated that, right?
Yep.
Have a look at this here. So top video, and everybody on the screen can see this. Top video was here. A little bit close, as we said. No wheel turn. That's where we ended up.
Yep.
Now look at the bottom video.
Ah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we can see, and things that I'm picking up, we can see better hip turn.
Yep.
We see better shoulder turn, or
Yep.
chest is more pointing back towards us. And the big thing, what again, I guess the sort of the goal of this session was to feel a little more
Yes.
depth.
Yep.
Whereas here we had a lack of depth.
Yep.
And then that made us, what we said in the top video, a little bit steep into the back of that golf ball.
Yep.
Okay. I'd also say to you, think about that speed. I think you look a lot better when you've sort of taken a little bit off it, like sort of gear 3.
Yeah.
And think about gear 3. That's why I always say this. Gear 5 is your fastest.
Yep.
Gear 1 is your slowest. Gear 3 is like your gear, especially you play in the wind, right? You live in Scotland, so I mean, I live down south, so it's a little bit different. But for you, like, that's going to be a much more, I guess, percentage play.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, thanks very much for
Hope you
watching.
enjoyed that.
No, I did. Perfect, thank you.
Awesome. And thanks for watching this video lesson live here on the range at the Open at Royal Troon.